All right, let's jump into it. Where we are, Tuesday, 11:38. A little bit late this morning. It's a little bit of a sort of a hectic night overnight, and so of course everything gets pushed back a little bit sort of through there. But nevertheless, we're starting to see. Well, first of all, we'll start off with DXY here. Oh yeah, 29th of the 10th as well. So coming into the end of the month here. So I think we've got 2 days, I think 31 days this month. So, today, tomorrow, and Thursday for the sort of last trading days of the month. So, you may see a little bit of sort of end of month flows and those kind of things sort of popping on through there. Also got NFP coming up. Remember this Friday. All the expectations for that are, ADP, NFP are quite weak in their expectations. So, be interesting to see if we see that a little bit sort of priced in with DXY, or if it just keeps sort of ignoring it and sort of charging through. So, look, we did get that little break up early yesterday morning off open, and then really the bigger move was the second part of it all, which sort of came down. Obviously, as you can see here, kind of twice the size, or two and a bit the size of the move up from open, back down, sort of to basically test this trend line, which we sort of put in over the weekend and sort of confirmed up a bit more. So I think that's certainly starting to sort of come into an area where we're starting to go, okay, look, if this thing is going to break down, we know where we're going to be calling it for a bit of a breakdown. Um, and at the same time as well, we could, if you're still looking for the top side moves, be looking at one, two, three, four. You probably won't get this move back over here if this is just to emphasize the point that we do have a potential ascending triangle. The fact that this came right up to the top level here and shows that it's holding this as a line. We're not seeing sellers as of yet with this move yesterday. You're not seeing the sellers push down. So if you wanted to see this sort of a bit more, okay, look, you'd want to see something more this sort of shape. You want to see a compression of buyers moving up, sellers moving down. We're still seeing buyers moving up, as you can see here, 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 along that trend line. But at the same time, sellers aren't pushing down. They're holding the line. And the only reason I point this out is because we have a look at a couple of other times that this has happened. This is flicking across to gold, and we sort of go back. Where was our little breakout over? Geez, it was back over here, 2300. Remember this part here? This is a sort of a good sort of indication of what happens when sellers hold the line. Sellers here, sellers here. You can see it's a dead straight line here. Buyers were the ones that were progressing, gave us that little triangle, and that led to a breakout to the top side there. So look, it's not exactly the same, different markets, but from a technical analysis sort of point of view, that is what we're kind of seeing at the moment. We're not seeing the sellers really sort of hammer it down. We're seeing that the buyers are sort of like, obviously progressing up here a little bit. As of now, as I said, we've got our little areas that where we can call and we can say, okay, look, something deeper is coming through here and through here. Take out these levels, mainly this one over here, 103.90. I think that's your area that we're going to see a little bit more. Like we can see as this bounce came down here, this is an area we already had marked out. We can see that they tried to hold it last week before letting it underneath for Friday session or maybe Thursday, Friday sessions or so before ripping it up into the end of the week. So we can see previously that this has been an area. Whoop, where's the little arrow's gone? This has been an area in which they've liked to hold it. Was resistance on the underside of it all, back to being support. So you'd think even if you do get a bit of a drive down to this point over here, you are going to see some sort of little reaction. Most likely it's not going to careen through this. I would say sort of something along these sort of lines here, and then potentially down here, and then who knows, maybe that just sort of comes back up here, or, whoops, whatever, or it comes up and then down again, and then comes through like this. So yeah, there's a bunch of different outcomes. As I said, this was the move that I was thinking that we may potentially have seen some sellers sort of step in. We do expect this push up here at some stage. Remember, this is the thing each time. The structure is still the same. You're buying up, you find resistance, you come back, you find support. This is the leg that was going to determine us how strong this trend is. Whether we got a higher high and obviously continue going, a lower high, which is kind of what I was sort of looking for, potentially to lead to this. Obviously, would be the outcome expected after this kind of thing. Obviously, taking out the lower low as well, or what we got, which was a double top so far. So the double top setting up, buyers are still progressing. If they let it down here, so if we take out this little move down here, potentially be looking down to 103.90, and then what you're really looking at then is maybe more something along this line. And this will be a little breakout box. And we could just be moving into a period of consolidation. I can't see at the moment with all this sort of stuff going on. We've got a strong sort of support here. Back test, went for the higher high for the continuation, didn't get it, knocked back down. So I think there is a chance that we do see this thing roll over and sort of come back down to this 103.97 area. I do expect this to hold, and I do expect a bounce from here. As to sort of this sort of leg through here, whoops, extra arrow there. As for this leg through here, Jesus, I'm all over the place this morning. This is going to determine whether we just get this consolidation range up the top over here, or whether the fact that you break this sort of channel, which we've been in for just 2.5 weeks or so, that this may actually lead to a little bit of a pullback. I don't think that this is going to be like, okay, this is the top. I think with the election coming up, with NFP this Friday, yes, this Friday, I think that there's a lot of things that are saying it's going to hold at least through to those periods. So I would expect if we do get a bit of a push there, if we break this rising support, this is the play that I'm looking for. A bit of a bounce off the horizontal, get ready for another leg down, take out that lows. We know where it's going to go. It's going to come down and test these lows down the bottom over here. And then we expect them to sort of buy it up and then just sort of keep this range going here. I don't think this is enough to sort of say, hey, this is the big top and we're going to be coming all the way back down. So that's my sort of little play on it at the moment. We're seeing gold move up a little bit early in the session here. Obviously, 12 o'clock's the hour that we're looking for a bit of volume to sort of start to come in. So if that continues up higher, I think that could be seeing what sees this little play come down here. The alternative is that it sort of holds this little horizontal zone here and moves up towards the tops over here, 104.50. Again, I expect this to be sold down if it does, and to stay in this main area. This is for me at the moment the battleground. I think once you break this larger area, so below 103.90, above 104.57 and change, these kind of numbers, I think that's going to give you your next move. But for now, I'm expecting just to really sort of trade the range through this period here. So that's a bit of the overview. If we sort of have a look on the lower time frames, look, as I said, opened up this time in the morning. There's not really so much of the volume and movement happening. You're kind of looking for at least 12 o'clock. I think if we take out this little wick that we've just put in, 23, then we're moving down to 15, retest the underside of that, and then move down to the downside there. I think if you get above 104.33, that's going to be opening up to this move up here to 104.57. All right, flip across, got gold. Gold, as you can see, just keeps fighting on. And this is what I was saying the other day, that we had that little consolidation area, broke, retest, came down, found support exactly kind of where we thought it was going to be. We can see the buyers have held it here. The buyers, more or less, a couple of bucks here and there, have held it here. And again, they held it here. So let's move this down out of the way. Let's clear this up a little bit. Where to now? So it is, in my opinion, moving towards what we could potentially be seeing as a third wave. The longer that it takes to get through this period, though, the potential of the higher the actual move could be. Because we've got one here, we've got two, and obviously it's found a little bit of selling pressure through this area while it's trying to get moving and get going. We had that gap down on Monday morning, and obviously a little continuation early. tried to close the gap, pretty much closed the gap. Look, if it didn't close the gap last night with that little point, it's closing the gap pretty much right now, as to sort of where it closed on Sunday. So, obviously the buyers are still there, and this is what we're saying. You can see that the buyers are moving up. This is where the buyers are now. So let's just go buyers, buyers, boom, not buy zone. I gotta fix these little things. Buyers, bang. You can see that the buyers have pushed up here a little bit. Even as this morning, they've pushed up here a little bit. Sellers, we know where they are. They're at 47. Above that, you're looking at all-time highs, 57, 27.57. It's looking like it wants to move up a little bit here. As I said, let's see what happens in 11 minutes at 12 o'clock. Are we going to get some fireworks to keep moving up to this top side over here? Or are we going to get it to sort of be like, more games and smash back down? I mean, after a while, you sort of think that these drop downs that keep getting bought up, drop downs keep getting bought up. Eventually, they're going to open it up. People are going to be expecting, oh, I'm going to wait and buy it down here and come back up. One of two things is going to happen. One, it's not going to get that drop down. It's actually just going to go. And it's just going to leave all the people that are sitting here, or the people sitting in this part of the buys, or down here for these kind of the buys, down here, they're going to be just left behind. And it's just going to run. Alternatively, we're going to see these kind of moves here, which I called actually with silver the other week when we did get this sell down here. And this is a good example of it all because, there's a lot of people that, dip buy, dip buy. And I said, this thing's eventually going to just dip and then it's not going to buy back up and it's going to get another leg down. And you can see it perfectly here as to sort of what's happened. Like, you know what I mean? They came down here. You can see buyers were sitting around here. People had another shot here. Ooh, went down a little bit below. They tried to take it up. And what did they do? Crash. Smashed it down another level. So again, these are just games that are being played and that to sort of really kind of, you know what I mean, milk out as much as they can through this period here. I do expect that, as I said, the longer that it sort of consolidates here, once it does, once it does, whatever you want to say, move up to the top side here, the higher the sort of price target is going to be. Because this is one touch, this is a second touch. Our third touch at the moment is looking like it's moving up to about 27.90. So I think there's potentially, look, if you go past and you put in an all new high, I think this is going to be very much the move that we're going to see up to sort of take a touch up on top over the top side over here. I'm not saying that like it's not going to happen necessarily today. I mean, look, who knows? Anything can happen. But we've got NFP this week. If we see US dollar sell off, this is what I've been saying, the tussle with the two, because they've both been running very in sync with each other, which is just, it's not normal. It's just not how they run. So one's going to have to give up. And if DXY gives up, you could see the flow up to into metals, gold to take out this top. I've said a few times, I think that this is probably building up to be a medium-term high. I think that there's a good chance that sort of like once we do make this third here, one drive, two drive, three drive, back down here, you break sort of 27.16, you see a much deeper sort of pullback. This buy zone, I don't think is going to be worth it anymore. I mean, it could be still the retest there, but we'll have to sort of see how this area plays out first. But I do believe that sort of like once we do get a break up over here, I think this will be our medium-term high for it all. All right, then back. So, yeah, look, I think it is sort of setting up. I mean, if you sort of look at this, and I mean, it doesn't matter sort of what time frame you really. I mean, if you're taking your lows from all the way down here, or even if we're just looking at this most recent move, um, you know what I mean, from this sort of flag break. I mean, this was perfect. I mean, we had the flag, perfect. That was the area that it stopped. We did have this other area up over here, remember, 2800 or so. I actually sort of saw somebody else sort of reference this. I thought it was probably a bit more, um, you know, I mean, these price targets can take time to sort of build up. But their one was basically off this kind of thing. Whoop, not that one. Off this sort of line through here, off to that, sort of giving you the price target up there. So I kind of moved the line because you look at it and sometimes you think, is that a trend line or something I'm supposed to be trading off? I kind of forget why I've got that line there because you're too zoomed in on it all. But of course, this is, that's all. So yeah, even if you just look through this move over here, like this last leg, it's only sitting around the 23% on these pullbacks. This is still very bullish. They're not even getting sell down to retest the previous highs over here. So I think this is really showing that, you know what I mean? You may get these little fluctuations and sell downs, but I don't think that this is anything other than sort of really a bit of a bullish sort of consolidation at this stage. With gold tops, I do like to see these hard lines where, you know, it's boom, boom, boom. This is the line you want to break, and this is why I got rid of that little sell just here, also a little buy just here. Look, I may actually sort of jump back in on that once we get down to that point. You got to play it by ear at the time, and I think that could probably offer some opportunity, whether it sort of be just up, you know, sort of, you know, 20, 30 bucks or so, and then bang back down through here. I'm not a buy and hold kind of person, as you know, if you watch any of my stuff, you see. Um, but the thing is, when you've got a very solid line like this is really sort of building up to be quite a sort of good ledge. And similar, if you sort of look at this setup here, remember this move here. This is the silver call I had the other week, where we got the big breakout. And I'll put it on the higher time frame, emphasize the point. Maybe have it on daily. Yeah, here we go. So it's the same thing here. To show how it works, invert the scale so that you get the same idea. One drive up, two drives up. Oh mate, where was it? Sorry. One drive up, two drives up, three drives up. And when it came back down here, see how they're just holding that solid line? And when it went, bang, careened through. I didn't sort of display that as well as I could have probably, but here's the point here. Yeah, so you've got, where is it? One drive up through here, back, two drives up through here, back, three drives, and bang, and it just flew through that area. So this is what I mean, sort of like if you look at that, and then you look at sort of where gold's at the moment, put it back onto time frame that we're working on, and you think about it sort of like once it does, if it does, when it, I say no, not when, not if, sorry, when, because it will come back to this level. Even if we go up higher, there will be some time of a flush out through here. But you're getting this drive up here, and you know, it's just holding this line. So once it comes back here, and we see that, you know, it comes back here, tests it again, bounces here, and then goes through here a second time, that's going to be, okay, big fall off. And that's what I look for in terms of gold tops. So I think that sort of like till you get under here, you know what I mean? It's not really, I mean, you can intraday and sort of obviously get some nice little short trades through these periods. But yeah, I think this is at the moment, as you can see, buyers have gone here, here, here. They're trying to really sort of push towards these levels over here. I think sort of if we have a look at this now and just put it on a 4 hour. So I put a 4 hour through this area over here above 52. We're at 45 now, so we're very close. Put a 4 hour close through here. It's done what these candles were unable to do. And I think this obviously then is definitely going to sort of see 58 as a touch up. And then once you break 58, I imagine this has built up some nice little stops because this sell down here, people put their stops here. Sell down here, oh, well, that's good. Maybe they've put their stops to here. Maybe they've still kept them over here. It builds liquidity. The longer that it's sort of consolidated, and that's why, you know, when you see consolidations and then subsequently consolidations break, it's because it's built up all this liquidity. So top side, there'd be stops up here. Short side, which I don't think is going to come right now, there's going to be stops around here. And that's why when you see a break of these areas, you're going to see generally fairly fast moves. And sort of continuation moves as people have their stops here, people have their stops here, people have their stops here, and it just hits one after another, another. But I do think, or at least what I'm looking for, is a touch up of this rising area through here before a medium term pullback. And as I said the other day on the weekend, I think a short from you know, high 27s has got a pretty good chance of being quite a good sort of trade coming through there, despite it being overly super bullish, of course. All right, so let's go on to the lower time frame. As I said, look, a close up above 51, 52, I think it'll be quite bullish. We're coming into last week's, I don't know if that's last week's high. No, this is last week's highs. We're coming into Friday closes. just through this area here. So we know that, this is obviously where they stopped it on Friday. Zone as well. This is where they stopped it on Friday. So this is the area you want to see it sort of pop through here. If we do see a little takeout of this fail here, you might be looking at a little range through the top here. If it does come back down here and test these buyers, and these buyers are going, yep, no, that's not for us, then of course you look back down to these zones over here. So really, like these areas here where you say buys and sells, you can substitute this for sellers, sellers, buyers, buyers. I just use grey because it's easier for me to sort of bang these things, and it doesn't sort of give me any sort of potential bias because it's just a level. Whether they're buying or selling, you can tell what they've done. You can see previously that's where the sellers stepped in, gap down, close that. Okay, this is another area where we had the sellers and another area where we had sellers up over here. So that's your big one over here. Above 58 or 60, whatever, call it a couple of points and change. That's where we're going to see things move a little bit faster. All right. And poor little Aussie, mate. It is just cannot, it just can't get out of its own way. This is what I was saying on the weekend. I thought these are the kind of areas that it would have been good to sort of see. We saw a little bit of a gap up, and which I'll cover in a moment because obviously, not that I cover oil on this, but oil got decimated, and you would have thought maybe this would have had an inverse reaction with Aussie. Maybe I'll unpack that a little bit in a moment. But we can clear these up a little bit because, as you can see, Aussie back down at the 61% retracement now of that move, right from the very lows as well. This is the thing. This is the big sort of spike down where we had that sort of, oh my God, GFC 2.0, which lasted a day or so, mind you. They got over that very quickly, and obviously it's been a great run up to the top side here. But as I said, just not including this little spike down here, this was a nice little setup of a channel, and you could see that Aussie was trying to do its best to hold this area through here. It didn't, and subsequently, as I say, when it doesn't do these things, when it doesn't respect the chart, price needs to be punished. And yes, it was a bit of sort of stuffing around with it all, but from that break, we've seen 2.5%, 154-point drop off. So we're back at the 61% retracement now, so very deep pullback here because it's obviously been a nice structured move up here. This tried to go, and boom, second wave coming down over here. So look, it'll be interesting to see if we do get gold rally a bit, if we see DXY sort of push through to that little sort of consolidation area. Are we finally going to see some little rally attempt from Aussie? It has been absolutely decimated. It's, you know what I mean? This, I was shorting it from the top over here. I've been trying to sort of build long positions through here, but it just, it just can't sort of get out of its own way. Even like when you're like, okay, we got a little channel here. Well, all of a sudden now it starts to sort of really just pack it in a little bit more, even further down here. I'm just seeing if we got anything else. I'm not a big fan of that. So look, Aussie, if it can get back up over this morning's little drop down, then obviously sort of like it was really trying to get back up above that 63 level last night. It was a decent little bounce from the lows yesterday, but obviously, grinds its way up here through the whole session, and then within 2-3 hours, completely completely undoes it. So yeah, Aussie's not looking too flash hot. So in terms of if we are going to see this 61% hold and have any sort of effect, we're looking above sort of 87. Above 87, you've still got this little wick to sort of get back above there, but then 87, you look back up at the round number, that'd be the next level. Remember, these are just levels of sellers. Sellers through here, sellers through here. I think we'll start to sort of build ourselves some nice little levels to call either short, like to short these things from. You want to get a short position. I wouldn't be shorting it at the lows, but I did say that over the weekend, and obviously, we've come down there since. But, up above this level here, that's a potential short. Up above this level's potential short. Up above this level to the what's called the falling resistance. That's a potential short. So if you want to short this, they're your levels there, I would say. I just think things when they're already down on the lows, I think you kind of missed the boat a little bit, and yeah, you might sort of be kind of shorting the bottom. So I think sort of wait, if you want to get short on it, wait to get above these levels. Alternatively, the way that you use these levels is if it does happen to break it. If it happened to break this level, then we look up to 26, 22. A little bit risky up around this area because you've got this horizontal through here, you've got the falling resistance. So I imagine this is probably your better bet to see some actual action because you've got the horizontal here. And again, these are price levels. So this could come out like this and you could get a confluence. This could dribble and take its time to get up. I mean, it's obviously not going to come up direct straight up like this. So, you got to put some sort of time into it, I suppose. But, this is the kind of area, let's move this down over here, where I'd imagine you might sort of see a little bit of action. Because you've got the confluence of the horizontal, you've got the falling resistance, and then you look for continuation of this channel moving down here and a retest of the lows down at 65, 70s. Really just absolutely crush. When it sells down hard. Look at these moves. Really, as I said, look, one of the market's favorite pastimes is selling Aussie. So, yeah, quite interesting. Let's move these across a bit so it looks a little bit more actual realistic. Look, but as I said, look, this could also just capitulate and go down here, and we could be looking another 20, 30 points down, particularly if you take out 71 right now, you're going to be in trouble. So we're going to have to sort of see what's happening. Gold, the fact that gold's moving is not sort of saving it one bit because gold and US dollar have been sort of running in tandem. So we're seeing sort of metals are pushing up now. We've got just gold coming over 2750 or 2749.50. So that's a nice little sort of open up, and that's what I was saying. Eventually, it's just going to go. It's not going to give you your 12 o'clock sell down, buy up. That's to sort of grab liquidity, stuff people around. Eventually, they're going to, okay, let's just run this thing, and they're just going to go with it. And that seems to be what they're doing at the moment, 2760, 2749.60. Yes. And yeah, we'll see these moving. But I think Aussie above 86, again, see what happens around this area. This is kind of weekly highs at this stage. Yeah, we had that little gap up over the weekend, or Monday morning, and sort of see what happens. 26, geez, I swear I have some sort of level of dyslexia. 66.24, excuse me. This is the area I want to see what happens. You break this, you're looking up at the 50s. Well, you're probably actually looking at the 45s and then the sort of 60s levels, these areas where we've seen the sellers on the way down. Um, and I think you sort of go, okay, here's the channel, we're broken out of the channel, and you start to see some little medium term bounce back up to here. And then look, I mean, top side target would be 66.90, which again, it's 120 points off where we are now. So there's definitely some sort of position there, should it break and go. But of course, first things first, it's got to get off the lows. And it is really just looking pretty sad. And it's just not moving at all. I mean, like a lot of these ranges you can see here, it's just dribbling and dribbling. And it just gets stuck in these small little ranges for hours and hours on end before falling down again. So, yeah, that's pretty much where we're at with Aussie. Till it's up above sort of 65.88, I don't really see, or 65.90, I don't really see too much happening. You get up around sort of the 10 area, 66.10, or around 66.25 and change. These kind of areas, they're your kind of potential short positions, in my opinion. Let's have a quick look at copper, and this is partly the reason that we're seeing Aussie get smacked down. Look, this is really, really sort of showing how tight and important this line is. And this is why, this technical analysis is great because, we pull out these little things and we say, okay, it's a bit here, it's a bit here, it's a bit here. This is really, and this is what I was saying last week with this, we were over here. I said, look, this is the angle we're looking at, a potential rounded bottom. It's set up for this. I mean, look, it could, again, anything can happen. This could, after numerous sort of attempts to break out, just go and fail down here. It's a possibility. Everything's a possibility. And, if this is going to happen, we know where it's going to happen really. Really, actually, it's going to be under here. But from down anywhere in this zone over here, I think there's the chance that we go fail, attempt, break. But you can see that this falling resistance is getting smacked at time and time and time again, and they're not really letting up on it. You are seeing the buys moving up a little bit, but as we sort of open up this session, you're seeing them sell it down. This is what's weighing on Aussie. This is what's making it a little bit sort of tough for Aussie at the moment. You get a flip and a turnaround and a break up a little bit higher like this. Well, all of a sudden then you might see Aussie do that little spark up that we said, back up into the 66s. But as this is getting hammered down, even while gold and silver are both pushing up, gold, okay, precious metal, silver sits in the middle. It's an industrial metal and also it's a precious metal. And it's moving. Gold's outperforming, but it is moving towards its levels and that. Above 34, we're going to see silver sort of move a bit more. But those ones are moving, but at the same time, copper is just copping it. Pun intended, I suppose. Anyway, so yeah, I think sort of like particularly this is the line you want to see broken. You want to see the buyers, if it does come down here, you don't want to see them disappear here. They've tried to make their effort. They've jumped off the line. They've moved up a step. They've moved up a step again. You don't want to see, even if you sort of break these ones, it's going to be an early indicator that this sort of push on the buyers to come up here has just failed. And if they're not sort of sitting here at 3,435, there's no buyers here. Yeah, you might sort of catch some in these very lows over here. But I think the fact that it only dipped down here once, more a capitulation sort of thing as a break through these lows, this is the line that I think is more important. 435, because you can see how many times the buyers have said, yep, I'll buy it, I'll take it, I'll take it, I'll take it, I'll take it. It could come down here and then sort of rally and push back up as well. But if the further this goes down here, the more significant it's going to be once we do get this little break. This little triangle is what I'm really looking at for the moment. So yeah, top side really, even if you break this, I think 428 is the top side target. As we can see, this is the horizontal. We can see it as a very strong area through here. So actually, just to make things a little bit more, I'm gonna call it fun. Let's do this. That's your area through here, because this, although it sort of comes out of the through this falling resistance, it's still got this top side here horizontal to deal with. Bottom side very much sort of allocates it there. So I think this, once we break out of this little box here, this is going to sort of show us which direction we're moving. Okay, and finally with China. China had a little bit of a push off early, obviously sold into, so sellers, they're still holding that line here for the time being. Let's jump onto the 4 hour because it's a bit more better for the one. You can see that they are sort of trying to sort of push up along here. Obviously, this is a little sort of into area support kind of thing. So again, you break this level here, you come back down, and on we go with the grind box, which we know the one loves to do. The one loves to grind. So look, if this breaks out, we've got the alert set there. This is going to see here. This will see Aussie take another leg down. This could be what's weighing on copper a little bit more as well. Alternatively, you can see this push down. You see copper push up. You see Aussie push up. This is what we're kind of looking for here. So I'll put a little alert. Can I put an alert here? So if I get this alert, we're going to say, okay, we're going to be seeing a push in copper and copper and Aussie. We can see that obviously the sellers are happy to sort of keep it capped at this level here. So again, if we see an absence of sellers here, then we're going to be pushing up, and we're going to be pushing up to this level over here, in my opinion, 718. This is going to have ramifications across the line because we're going to be seeing Aussie and copper, as I said, get a little bit of a hit on these things as well. Little tiny trend sort of setting up. Little tiny trend setting up through here, kind of. Not a big fan of this line, actually, to tell you the truth, but we'll keep it there just for now to see how it. We'll come back and visit it, see how it played out. I mean, you can see it shows basically buys moving up, buys moving up, buys moving up. If we see this breakdown, this is really the horizontal is what I'm looking for. If we get this down here, I'm looking back down at 711. All right, I think that's pretty much it. We got, as I said, we got silver making an effort through here as well. We did get this little wedge break. It attempted to get out, smack back in. Closed outside, attempted to go, smack back. It hasn't really sort of just exploded off. Excuse me. After coming out of here. But if we sort of update this a little bit. I sort of maybe drag it down to compensate for these last little wicks because, you know, this was the level that we were looking at. As you can see, it's marked out over here. But as you can see, these wicks are getting smacked on the nose here. This is where we want to see go through. We want to see it go through 34. A close up into 34. As you can see, do what the candles haven't been able to do. None of these candles through here, well, obviously not these ones down here, but these little push-up candle here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 of these candles have not been able to close. Let's update this one a little bit. Close above 33.74. So this is going to be your early indicator. This is on a 4-hour. You know, it's pushing right up at the moment. Yes, it's getting sold into a little bit here, but a close up here gives it a good chance that we're going to see this thing move up. And as it moves up, this is where we're going to be sort of looking at. I would probably disregard this one so much. I mean, obviously these are the wick fills, but if you get a close here, I think that's good enough to then just look for the body fills, and that would put us up at 34.26. So this would be the area that I'd be looking at over here. A little circle over it, this thing. This little area over here. That's the area I'd be sort of targeting. If we can get a close up at say 33.80, that gives you a 40-cent move up to that next level where I expect sellers to come back in like they had previously, and then potentially try and push it down. But as you can see, buyers are moving up. We've got a hard line with the sellers. You just want to see a depletion of those sellers there. Alternatively to this, if this flips and we take out the low under here, let's move this up and call this alert here. So 53, yep, that's it. So this is going to be flipping H4, and you'd be looking back down at 3,300 in my opinion. Oh, actually, hold on, wait. 33.30 and then 33.10. These kind of levels through here, where we can see buyers were here and then under here. If it goes underneath 33 again, I would say that you're probably looking back down for your retests at 32.25. So potential short options and that underneath 33. Yeah, get under 33, and I reckon that's a nice little short through here. And then if you want to go long again, you can try a buy up through here, keeping in mind we've got this falling resistance that also has played its part. So this could offer some sort of support again, as we've seen it happen a couple of times through here if we do get a touch up down here. But at the moment, it does look like it wants to push a little bit higher. Just have to see if we get any of that sort of continuation. DXY is actually pushing up a little bit at the moment. So obviously, as you're seeing, it's pushing back on these metals. I'm waiting on that a little bit. All right, so I think that's about it. As I said, look, just a quick look at, not that I cover it on this, at oil, because oil got smashed, as you can see. It dropped down, I think it was 5% or something. It dropped on open. That's your open there. Yeah, 5.12%. So 5% on open, 6.5% in total. It's really sort of come back. If you zoom out of this, it's really coming back to test the top side of this area here where we said this is where the buyers are. This green zone here is a very strong area. This is a weekly kind of level, which we've seen held a number of times and reactions been very big off them. But as we can see at the moment, with this little gap down, it's just really come back into this area. So I don't think, look, I don't trade oil enough to really sort of comment fully on it. All I've said is if you break below 62, it's going down to the mid 40s. That's my sort of feeling. I think mid 40s, what did I say? Yeah, mid 40s. Because this level is held so many times, absence of buyers there is going to see this thing get crushed. However, this level is super strong. It's a weekly. I don't think it's going to break. That's the thing. I don't think it's going to break. It's just what you've seen with this little drop down here was the market say, we don't really care about the Middle East situation. And I've said this numerous times that the market this time does not care. Everybody's like, oh, look, it's war, so this is going to happen and that's going to happen. Well, you know, the charts tell the story as well. Like people sort of think it's like, oh, the charts tell the story. Well, you know, if you know how to read it, they do. And you know, if these escalations were really sort of having massive effects, oil should be up at mid 90s. Gold should be, 28.50, but it's not. Gold's been held elevated, but I think that's also a US dollar kind of situation. But I think that's sort of like, this is just the market showing that, oh, look, there was like basically it was a retaliation bombing, but they avoided their oil fields or something to this effect. And because they did that, the market said, oh, hold on, wait. So they're not going to shoot down, they're not going to blow up their oil stuff, it's not going to interrupt supply. We don't need to be paying the premium. Okay, well, screw that. Boom. And that's why you got the sell down there. So look, I think this area will hold. I'm not trading it. I have any interest in trading it, but I do think that this area will hold, and then you'll see, back up to, where it closed last week. Because I mean, look, at the time it was structurally down, up, bang, bang. It closed quite strong, quite bullish, and I don't know. As I said, I don't follow it enough. Was the market in? The market was probably actually. I do know that they were expecting some sort of retaliatory impact, but it's not a massive move up over here. It's just normal price flow kind of thing. So it closed quite bullish. I think it'll get back up here. If it gets above 71, fine, good on it. But as I said, we've got this area marked out here. We know that this is a big buy area. It's broken down. We've seen it become a sell area. It's just been a sell area again. So really, it's just ranging. All right. Actually, quick look at the news, which I don't think we have a great deal of. Again, I think we've got Aussie CPI tomorrow is the big one that we're looking for. Yeah, as you can see, just nothing through Asia again today, and some low-level news sort of coming out of US over here. So I don't think there's a great deal. I think there was a bond auction overnight for the US. Um, I think that's probably what gave it a little bit of a shunt along. But the big ones looking for jolts tonight. Remember, this was a big impactful one last week. So 1 a.m. tonight. A little couple of speakers and yada yada early in the morning for places that we don't really trade with. And then CPI tomorrow. Expectation is to come down. This is again going to be something that is weighing on Aussie. So look, if they get a sticky number, Aussie will recover. That's something that could work in its favour on the fundamental side. All right, that's it from me.